हेलो डियर लर्नर्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल एम्ब्रेस बायोटा। आज के लेक्चर में हम ब्रायोफाइट्स के इम्पोर्टेंट जेनेरा को डिस्कस करेंगे। बिफोर दिस हमने ब्रायोफाइट्स के यूनिक और इम्पोर्टेंट कैरेक्टर्स को डिस्कस कर लिया है। दिस इज द पार्ट 6 ऑफ अवर सीरीज। इसमें हम मार्केंशिया, फनेरिया और स्फेगनम के इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स को पढ़ेंगे। वी आर स्टार्टिंग विद मार्केंशिया. Markensia belongs to the bryophyte from the class Hepaticopsida, order Markensiales and family Markensiaceae. Markensia के थैलस की बात करें तो थैलस इज डिफरेंशिएटेड इनटू डॉर्सल व्यू एंड वेंट्रल व्यू। डॉर्सल सरफेस में हमें गैमे कप और सेक्स ऑर्गन्स देखने को मिलते हैं। मार्केंशिया के वेंट्रल सरफेस में राइजोइड्स एंड स्केल्स प्रेजेंट हैं। राइजोइड और स्केल को हमने अपनी प्रीवियस वीडियो में अच्छे से डिस्कस कर लिया है। एक बार दोबारा हम इनके पॉइंट्स को देख लेते हैं। द राइजोइड्स आर यूनिसेलुलर, अनब्रांच्ड, स्मूथ वॉल एंड ट्यूबरक्युलेटेड टाइप। द स्केल्स आर मल्टीसेलुलर, ligulated as well as appendicular and are violet in color due to the presence of anthocyanin pigment. आप इस डायग्राम में डॉर्सल एंड वेंट्रल सरफेस को अच्छे से देख सकते हैं। डॉर्सल सरफेस में हमें गैमे कप दिखाई दे रहे हैं और वेंट्रल सरफेस में हमारे पास राइजोइड एंड स्केल्स प्रेजेंट हैं। नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग अबाउट मार्केंशिया इज इट्स रिप्रोडक्शन। मार्केंशिया अंडरगो वेजिटेटिव रिप्रोडक्शन बाय फ्रेगमेंटेशन एंड गैमे। In fragmentation, dead and decay old thallus give rise to the new fragment of the thallus. गैमे की बात करें, गैमे is multicellular structure which is present in the dorsal surface of the thallus. Game is born in a receptacle known as game cup. There is the presence of bilateral symmetry which give rise to the midden notch. Talking about the structure of gamma. Between the game, the mucilaginous hair are present which imbibe water in them. Due to the water, they swell up and a force is developed. Under the force, the gamma break and detach from the thallus. The gamma comes in the soil and result in the formation of new thallus. Most of the cells of the gamma are green in color. There are some large-sized colorless cell present known as rhizoidal cell which give rise to rhizoid. Oil-rich cells are also present. आप इस डायग्राम में गैमे का स्ट्रक्चर क्लियरली देख सकते हैं। Next one is the sexual reproduction in Markensia. The sexual reproduction is of oogamous type. Here the sex organs are present on the dorsal surface and projected outward. These sex organs are produced in receptacle known as gametophore. The gametophore arises from the apical notch of the thallus. Gametophore is a stalked structure and is the extension of vegetative thallus. Gametophore is different in male and female. Male gametophore is known as anthridiophore, which contains the antheridia, and female gametophore is known as archegoniophore, which contains the archegonia. हम मेल एंड फीमेल प्लांट को आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ गैमेटोफोर. द स्टाक ऑफ द आर्किगोनियोफोर इज लार्जर एज कंपेयर टू द स्टाक ऑफ एंथ्रीडियोफोर. द एंथ्रीडियोफोर इज राउंडेड स्ट्रक्चर, concave in outline and with rounded teeth. Whereas archegoniophore in the young stage looks like umbrella with convex upper part and it becomes star shape at maturity. सबसे पहले हम देखते हैं एंथ्रीडियोफोर का स्ट्रक्चर. एंथ्रीडियोफोर हैज बेसल स्टाक एंड ए टर्मिनल रिसेप्टेकल. जब हम एंथ्रीडियोफोर का क्रॉस सेक्शन कट करते हैं तो हमें टू ग्रुप्स नजर आते हैं. We can see rhizoids and scales in the groups and photosynthetic filament in the chamber. The antheridia has 8-lobed disc. These lobes consist of air chambers and the antheridial chamber. The antheridial chamber alternate with the air chamber and is sunken in position. There is also a opening known as ostiole जिससे antheridia open होता है on the upper surface. Antheridial chamber को देखें तो each antheridial chamber consists of the antheridium. Antheridium are pear-shaped, exogenous in origin and grows in acropetal manner. That is, the older antheridia lie towards the center and younger toward the apex of the lobe. The antheridia is a stalked structure and is surrounded by a sterile jacket covering. Inside the sterile jacket, there are fertile cells known as androcyte, which forms the antherozoid. Antheridia के स्ट्रक्चर को हमने प्रीवियस लेक्चर में अच्छे से डिस्कस करा है. Next is the archegoniophore. Archegoniophore also consists of the stalk and a terminal lobe disc known as receptacle. It is slightly longer than the anthridiophore. The female disc is also 8-lobed structure with growing apex. But after fertilization, this structure gets inverted. It bends downward and inward towards the stalk. And archegonia are arranged in acropetal manner, that is youngest at the center and the oldest at the periphery. Now the formation of rays and pericytium occur. Due to the intercalary growth, long sterile and green cylindrical structure appear which is known as rays. These rays dwell from the central part of the disc. The rays alternate with the archegonia and result in the formation of two-lipped structure known as pericytium, also called as involucre. These rays hangs downward in a rib-like manner and at maturity give the female receptacle a star-shaped appearance. The archegonia are produced in groups and are exogenous in origin. Archegonia is flask-shaped structure and differentiated into neck and swollen venter. The neck consists of 6 large cover cells, 6 vertical rows of neck cells and 4 to 6 neck canal cells. Whereas the venter is surrounded by the venter jacket and there is upper small venter cell and a lower large egg cell is present. The venter canal cell degenerate at maturity and become mucilaginous. The mucilage sheath absorb the water which exert the pressure on the operculum and it separate, allowing the passage for the entry of the sperms into the archegonia. After this, the act of fertilization occurs and the sporophyte formation occurs. These topics were discussed in the previous lecture. The second genera of our discussion is Funaria. Funaria is a moss and previous lecture में हमने mosses के बारे में कुछ खास discussion नहीं करी है. So we are going to study Funaria in detail. Funaria is known as hair cord moss. Funaria in Bryophytes comes under the class Bryopsida, order Funariales and the family Funariaceae. अगर आपको Bryophytes के क्लासिफिकेशन जाननी है तो मैंने एक शॉर्ट्स के थ्रू उसको ऐड करा है. एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से गैमेटोफाइट ऑफ फुनेरिया एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है. इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ 2 distinct stages which are juveline stage and leafy stage. The juveline stage is known as protonema and the leafy stage is the adult stage. Juveline stage arises after the germination of haploid spores. It is prostrate and creeping type, also multicellular and branched. It is epihermal that is short-lived. Protonema एक highly branched structure है and it contains 2 type of branches. The branches which grows over the substratum and is green in color is known as chloronemal branches. The other branches penetrate into the substratum and develop oblique septa. These are known as rhizoidal branches which forms the rhizoid. The plant body in the Funaria has a leafy axis. This axis is with spirally coiled leaves and the arrangement of the phyllotaxy is 3x8 and the leaf is in complete 3 spirals. 3x8 phyllotaxy means that there are 8 leaves in the 3 complete spiral. There are the rhizoid for the attachment with the substratum. The rhizoid in the Funaria are multicellular, branched and with oblique septa. The leaf is pointed at the apex and bordered at the base. It lacks stomata and veins. थैलस के बाद हम बात करते हैं रिप्रोडक्शन इन फनेरिया. लीफी गैमेटोफाइट reproduce vegetatively as well as sexually. First one is the fragmentation. Fragmentation occur by the death and decay of the cells of the primary protonema, which divided into the many short fragments and give rise to the new protonema. Second is by secondary protonema. Sometimes the injured cell develop into the filamentous protonema known as the secondary protonema. The secondary protonema develop into the bud stage which give rise to the leafy gametophore. Third is the gamete. The gamete are the green cells which develop at the terminal cells of the protonema. they separate from the protonema, they germinate and produce the new protonema. Fourth is the bulbils. These are similar like the gamma in behavior, but it formed from the rhizoid instead of protonema and are non-green structure. On favorable condition, these develop into the protonema and give rise to the gametophores. The most important mode of the vegetative reproduction in Funaria is apospory. Apospory is the formation of gametophyte directly from the sporophytic tissue without any spore formation. So in this way, the gametophyte produced is the diploid and which also give rise to the diploid gametes. Next we have is the sexual reproduction. The plants of the Funaria are monoecious and autoecious. Monoecious means both male and female are on the same plant, but autoecious means on the different branches. The male sex organ is antheridium and the female is archegonium. Important point is that the male sex organ dwells first, that is in protandrous condition. It is formed in the group and is exogenous in origin. Another important point is that it is surrounded by the perigonial leaves. And the female sex organ dwells on the lateral side of the male. It is also formed in the group and is exogenous in origin and is surrounded by the pericytial leaves. मेल सेक्स ऑर्गन को देखें तो हमारे पास टू मेन स्ट्रक्चर आते हैं इसमें विच इज पैराफाइसिस एंड पेरिगोनियल लीव्स. द एंथ्रीडियोफोर एक्सपेंड एंड फॉर्म ए कन्वेक्स स्ट्रक्चर. इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ द पैराफाइसिस. द पैराफाइसिस इज एन यूनिसीरिएट फिलामेंट विच इज ऑफ 4 to 6 cells. It's a capitate structure which is intermingled with the antheridium. It retains the water with the help of capillary actions. The antheridia are projected and aggregate in a cluster on the surface of receptacle. The leaves around the antheridia is known as perigonial leaves. It prevents the antheridia from the desiccation by secreting the mucilaginous substance that helps to release antherozoid. The antheridium, perigonial leaf and paraphysis together form the perigonium. Male sex organ of the Funaria is just like other male sex organ, but the difference lies in the stalk. Stalk in the Funaria is biseriate, that is have 2 rows of the cells. Up next we have female sex organ. It develop on the lateral side of the male shoot. Archegonia develop in the group at the apex of archegonial leaf. Funaria have the largest archegonia among the plant kingdom. Paraphysis here is non-capitate and the archegonia is surrounded by the pericytial leaves. Archegonia, paraphysis and pericytial leaf together forms the pericytium. The archegonia, the neck is surrounded by one sterile jacket whereas the venter is surrounded by 2 sterile jackets. Just about the female sex organ is discussed earlier in the previous lecture. Up next we have the fertilization in Funaria. In all bryophytes, the fertilization is zooidogamous, that is, it occurs in the presence of water and zygote is formed. The zygote divide into epivessel and hypovessel cells. Epivessels are the upper cells and the hypovessel are the lower cells. The epivessel cells form the capsule and the upper part of the setae. The hypovessel cells form the foot and the lower part of the setae. Zygote forms the embryo and embryo give rise to the sporophyte. Sporophyte has 3 parts: foot, setae and capsule. The foot is embedded in the gametophyte. That is, it is parasite over the gametophyte. Setae connects the foot and capsule. कैप्सूल में फर्दर एम्पीथीशियम एंड एंडोथीशियम प्रेजेंट है. एम्पीथीशियम is the outer layer which divide to form the wall of the capsule. Endothecium forms the columella from its most of the part and from its outer layer it forms the sporogenous tissue. The capsule consists of apophysis, theca and apical region. Apophysis is the basal part which contains the stomata in the epidermis. Funaria is the only bryophytes in which the stomata is present and it is a unique characteristic. Apophysis also contain the chloroplast. The theca is the middle part of the capsule and it is the fertile portion of the capsule. The apical region is the uppermost part of the capsule. इस डायग्राम में आप कैप्सूल के स्ट्रक्चर को क्लियरली देख सकते हैं. Theca is divided into 4 regions: columella, spore sac, air sac and capsule wall. Columella is the central sterile stand of the theca. It conducts the food to the spore sac and is formed by the endothecium layer of the capsule. Spore sac is on the either side of the columella. It contains the spore mother cell. The air sac is present in between trabeculae. The wall of the capsule is multilayered and is formed by the epithecium. Apical region is further divided into operculum and peristome. The operculum is the outermost layer of the capsule, which is also known as lid. It encloses the mouth of the capsule. The corner cells of the operculum becomes wide and is known as annulus. This annulus helps in the dehiscence of capsule. Another region of the apical is peristome. It lies just below the operculum. It consists of the triangular curved cultivated teeth known as peristome teeth. These teeth are 32 in number, 16 in the one row and 16 in another. So divided into the outer peristomial and inner peristomial teeth. The outer teeth are large, red in color and hygroscopic. Inner teeth are small, colorless and stationary in position. The outer peristomial teeth overlap over the inner peristomial teeth. Last is the calyptra. Calyptra is the gametophytic tissue which is formed from the venter. Venter itself is a diploid structure and forms the diploid structure too, but the calyptra formed is the gametophytic in nature. On the maturation of the capsule, this calyptra ruptures. This is all about the important points related to the funaria. Now we are moving towards sphagnum. Sphagnum, also known as peat moss or the bog moss. स्फैगनम के केस में हमारे पास इसकी इकोनॉमिक इम्पोर्टेंस इम्पोर्टेंट है. स्फैगनम के इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स की बात करें तो स्फैगनम कंसिस्ट ऑफ द रिटॉर्ट सेल्स. इट आल्सो कंटेन्स हाईलाइन सेल्स नोन एज कैपिलरी सेल्स. द सिटा इज रिड्यूस्ड. देयर इज ए यूनिक मैकेनिज्म ऑफ स्पोर डिस्पर्सल इन स्फैगनम नोन एज एयर गन मैकेनिज्म. टॉकिंग अबाउट द इकोनॉमिक इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ स्फैगनम, स्फैगनम इकोनॉमिकली बहुत ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. फर्स्ट वन इज इट इज यूज्ड फॉर द preservation purpose. The organisms which are buried in the sphagnum remain preserved for a very longer period of time. Second is that sphagnum increase the water holding capacity of the soil. That's why it is very beneficial for the gardening purpose. It is rich in the antiseptic property and has 20 times more water holding weight in the water. It is used as bandages during the Second World War. Sphagnum is used as packing material for shipment of live plants, cut flowers and vegetables. Most important application is the formation of peat. Sphagnum on decomposition forms the peat. Peat is dark brown color which is formed by the gradual compression and carbonization of the decomposed pieces of the sphagnum. It is used as a fuel and making the soil acidic. Gardener use sphagnum for the potting material. It can hold the moisture for a longer period of time and release the moisture when plants needed them. It also holds the nutrients so that they cannot easily washed out from the soil. Next we have is the sphagnol. Sphagnol is used in the treatment of skin disease. Last we have is the bog succession. Sphagnum establishes itself on the bank of natural lakes and pools. It extends inward and forms a thick mat on the bank. After some time, these mats start behaving as a solid soil. These type of areas are known as quaking bogs. These mats hold the moisture and forms a suitable substratum for the germination of seeds. This is all about the important genera of bryophytes. If you find this video helpful, subscribe the channel. My name is Aina Sharma and thanks for watching.